Scene one, Apple, take one.
You wanna get high?
That's right.
You caught me smoking. 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 It's a motherfucking podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Oops Caught Me Smoking. We have a brand new segment for our show. It is called the Saturday Smoke Out, or the Saturday Smoke Session. My bad. I got my own plug wrong. But today we have a special guest. We have Chris Davis from Music and Motivation with Chris Davis, and he's going to join me today for a little smoke session. And we're going to talk about his podcast and how he became what he is today. Musician, podcast artist, and demigod of the auto world.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on today. It's great to actually be here with you, man. Finally get to smoke with you.
Yeah, we've been talking off and on Facebook, like here and there, you know, giving each other pointers on podcasting and how to improve our podcast and all that stuff. And I kind of felt bad because I seen you do set up the whole OBS studio thing, and I was just like, how the fuck is he doing this? So I had to go in and I basically learned OBS studio all over again to get like the scrolling down for the words underneath, and I pretty much hijacked your setup.
Oh no, that's okay, because I hijacked somebody else's setup. You know what I mean? You were the one who convinced me I needed to get into OBS in the first place. And then I had a professor of mine back in college suggest it as well. So I finally was like, when you said it to me, I was like, all right, I got to at least download it if it's free.
Right.
And I think like 2 or 3 YouTube tutorials later, I had a setup and was finally using it. So I don't know. Thanks for pointing me in the right direction. That's me saying thank you, bro.
Right. That was Ned. We're gonna keep rolling this. It's a shout out to Tina Marie from another friend of mine on Facebook. She's a voiceover artist, voiceover actress, I want to say, and like podcast extraordinaire. She just started podcasting. She has less episodes than I do, and she's just topping charts. So shout out to her for pointing me in the right direction to point someone else in the right direction.
Hell yeah, thank you, Tina.
Yeah, no shit. But
what's her podcast again?
Her podcast is called the Psychedelic Podcast.
Okay. And she was on that Indie Pod Summit. I saw that.
Yep. She was the one that actually put that entire summit together. Her and a handful of people with very, very short notice. And the least I could have done is go through a few minutes of pain.
And I was super impressed by that, dude. The ghost pepper challenge. I wouldn't do it. I don't fuck with spicy foods, but you know.
I don't either. I think ketchup has a kick to it. So, but I knuckled down and I did it. I didn't eat the whole pepper. I just did a little bit. But there's one of the guys, James, who I also talked to on podcast. We're like everywhere. We talk to everyone and we all support each other. So we're all really, really good friends. And he actually ate the entire pepper, which nobody did. He was the only one that actually did it and threw it back up. So that was kind of cool. That was really cool to watch. But that had me nervous. Once he puked, I was just like, oh God, I'm going to throw up too.
I'm glad you survived, but that was really good entertainment. I watched it live. So
yeah, it was a kick-ass summit. It was a week of just podcasting, straight podcasting, and it was fun as hell. And there's another summit coming up. I don't know when or where, but she's already asking for signups. So if you want to get your podcast down there, go right. I encourage you to do it. Like, you'll get so many more listeners on the down low. You'll get so many more listeners.
Absolutely. And what is this, especially as an independent podcaster, we really do rely on each other and build each other up. So it's all, I thought it was a great idea. I wanted to see how the first one played out, and I think I want to go and shoot for signing up too. So
yeah, it was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, we had but there was comedian Chris Null was on there. There was a few a few other comedians on there too. But enough of the chit chat. Let's get to smoking. I even clean my bong for you, bro. I do that for nobody.
As we say on my podcast, smoke them if you got them.
Exactly. Smoke it up, guys.
I know you're a bong aficionado. Me personally, you see me over here smoking one headers on the show constantly. That's why I'll duck off camera and hit them sometimes. But or I'll pull one up and hold it in front of it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really shy about smoking in front of people, especially since it's legal in my state. So I really don't have to hide it anymore like I used to.
Missouri's almost there. Recreational, we did legalize medical.
Nice.
And recreational's on the ballot again this year. And I have a friend in the Senate who's really, he's got me convinced it's going to pass this year. So we'll see.
Nice. But, yeah, more and more states are jumping on that bandwagon, legalizing it. And I know my state of Michigan has made so much more money off of the taxes and everything. So, but they still haven't repaired our roads. And maybe that's next on the list. I don't know. But I just want to get into something real quick. Like, tell the people who you are, what you're about, what your podcast is about, and we'll roll from there, bro.
Thank you. Well, my name is Chris Hippie Davis. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. And as Dan said, I'm the host of the Music and Motivation Podcast with Chris Davis. And it started out as just a feel-good podcast. I wanted it to be short, like 10 minutes to 15 minutes of just having somebody there, smoke one down with you. Normally, I record them like at the very beginning of the day. And this all came around because I was really into Joey Diaz. What's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian is Bill Burr right off the get.
Hell yeah, I'm a Burr fan too. Big Joey Diaz fan. And he had a podcast that used to motivate me to go to work. It was called The Morning Joint.
Okay.
I thoroughly still recommend it because that's still get me through a tough day. But I wanted to do my thing and create my version of it. But I was like, I have a lot of friends spread out throughout the country. So obviously I only see like maybe 4 or 5 people in St. Louis, especially during lockdown.
Right.
You know. So this is a way to have another friend there to smoke one down with you, give you a little motivational advice, get you through the day, you know?
Exactly.
But that's what it started out as. And now I've expanded it to, I like having guests on, especially local St. Louis musicians, because the local music scene everywhere is hurting. But I'm just trying to do what I can for my St. Louis artists and friends. So if somebody's releasing an album, I have them come on as a guest and we talk about it. I want to eventually jam on the podcast too, but we'll see. There's a couple audio problems with that I got to figure out first, obviously. So.
Right. But yeah, we definitely, from around my area, we have a lot of local artists. I had Austin Banks from Twin Terror. He's in a local rap group here in Midland, and like I've heard his music and it's amazing. Like I don't even know, I hear all this music from some of these people and I don't know how they're not signed. I mean, if Macy Gray can get a record deal, come on.
Come on. And that's one of the discouraging thoughts that comes across all these unsigned musicians, regardless of talent level. So you know, that's why I'm trying to give TikTok a try. I saw you tried to give TikTok a try. That shit cracked me up, bro.
I'm at war with TikTok. It's now personal. You 24-hour ban me twice. We got issues. I'm coming at you, TikTok, full force.
The one thing I'm having a little bit of success with music and motivation right now is I held a meme contest to try to make memes around music and motivation content, and then I'd post those to TikTok, which kind of kept me in the gray zone and kept me from getting flagged. So
right, I think my main problem with TikTok is because it's the
weed oriented stuff.
Weed, And plus, I swear my ass off. So I'm not shy about swearing, and I'm not shy about getting high in front of people because I do it all the time in front of everyone. So there's no filters in this guy. But I do try to like keep politics out of it. I don't talk about that. I don't really follow it. So if I did try to talk about politics, I'd probably look stupid. So I just not do it.
Yeah. And in, you know, a world where the politics are so bleak, I try to like focus on more positive shit anyways, which is why I generally go to music, because music, I use it as a tool to bring myself up. If I'm in a bad mood, I throw on some jazz or some Bob Marley or something positive to pull me out.
Right.
Which,
So
again, that's the point of the podcast too, you know.
Exactly. So, but when you're feeling, I don't know, down and out, like kind of blue type of thing, who's the artist that you go, who's the record that you put on?
Ooh, I would say to get out of a bad mood, believe it or not, the pianist from the Peanuts, his name is Vince Giraldi.
Okay.
He's my favorite pianist of all time, and I don't know, that shit will pull me out of a bad mood. It'd be who of me to just say the Grateful Dead. That'd be the easy answer.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Probably my favorite band of all time would be Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia. But one of my questions for you is, who's your favorite band? I've really been dying to know.
You want band, group, or singer, or you just want like a rock band, or
you can, you know, if you have to top three it, or you know, any of the above.
I'm really like, I don't know. We'll go this route. I'll go my top three, and my third would be Bob Seger.
Okay.
I do love me some Bobby Seger. He always puts me. He'll take me out of a bad mood real quick. And plus, my mom was a huge Bob Seger fan, and I always remember that she had a picture of Bob Seger in her room, but it wasn't like a poster. It was like a drawing of him, and it was a huge poster. And I remember going up to her and pointing at it, and I go, "Mom, is that Jesus?" And she goes, "Pretty damn close, buddy. Pretty damn close." So I remember that. But my number two, I would have to say Waylon Jennings. I do like some Waylon Jennings. I'm going old school for you because I know you're all into that rock, the old school rock stuff, and kind of like jazzy. So and obviously, if I'm just gonna hang out and chill and smoke a blunt, I'm gonna throw on some Miles Davis.
Miles Davis, really cool.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Or Ray Charles. I do love Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But if I'm gonna go all out hip hop, it's gonna be Dre, Nas, and Eminem. So
throwing on the Chronic.
Right, exactly. If I'm getting gangster, then yeah. So we're gonna throw out the Chronic and Nas.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, those are my top three. I'm very intrigued in the early rock and roll and blues and stuff like that. That really calms me down. And I just love listening to it. I don't know any of it by heart. I just close my eyes and drift.
And I've been getting more into Waylon Jennings because of that Mike Judge Tales from the Tour Bus. Yeah, check that out. That's pretty funny. But oh gosh, damn it! Now I can't even remember what I was going to say. The weed's catching up to me. What is your favorite strain of 2020?
My favorite strain on 2020. Well, my favorite overall strain would have to be the wedding cake. Anything like cakey, wedding cake. That's my favorite strain of overall. But my favorite strain of 2020 would have to be Gary Payton. It was sativa dominant, I do believe. I think it was a 60-40 sativa. So it really I didn't want to go to sleep afterwards. I just wanted to hang out, do stuff, so I'm kind of leaning more towards the sativa nowadays and less to the put my ass to sleep type of thing. So indica, yeah.
Normally I'm an indica guy myself. Just I'm annihilate myself at the end of the night to go to bed. I was always an insomniac growing up.
Right.
But quick question: how did you get into podcasting? That's something I want to know a little bit. I know you had a podcast before Oops Caught Me Smoking.
I've had actually a series of podcasts before Oops Caught Me Smoking. But if I'm going to go way back, it was because I tried stand-up. I did stand-up comedy at a local club that was in Shields, Michigan. It was called Shooters. And they would have a comedy night once a week. And my buddy was supposed to go up, and I was there to watch him actually. And then right before he was supposed to go on, he was nowhere to be found. Like MIA, I'm texting him, where the hell are you? Type of thing. And he's like, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I'm nervous as hell. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell? So I pretended I was him. And I went up and I did a 5-minute bit and just killed it. I'm like, I'm not even gonna lie. Killed it. First time on stage, killed it. And that was probably my biggest downfall right there. Because I got booked for not the following week, but the week after. And I did a 10-minute bit. Actually, obviously I was not getting paid for any of this. This is all free. And I did a 10-minute bit and just completely bombed. And because I was so confident from the 5-minute bit when I just went up and winged it and just fucking slaughtered it. And then my second bit, I just bombed it out and it was terrible. But I did a few more bits after that. And then the club ended up shutting down. And then that was the end of this Dan Levely stand-up career. So
for now,
until I find another place to do it. But until then, yeah. And then my dad was a karaoke host. So I've always been comfortable on a microphone. I grew up on a microphone pretty much. So, and I always wanted to be in radio, and my grades never really pondered up to the radio thing. So I took up podcasting, and here I am today.
Okay.
Yep. But I had 2 other podcasts before Oops Caught Me Smoking. One with my buddy Carl, and that was called the ASP, Attention Span Podcast. And I had after we fell out from that, he went off to do his own thing with the ASP podcast, and I broke off with Let's Effing Talk, which was pretty much a no holds barred podcast. Like I talked about anything and everything, and that's where I learned that's a no. So then I created Oops Caught Me Smoking, and this has been I don't want to say a huge success, but it's been fun, and I've met a lot of people. And maybe it'll take off one day, or maybe it's just a stepping stone to what's next. Who knows? So we'll go from there.
Man, and success is different to every single person. I want to state that. And if the goal at the end of the day is to be in LA in a giant ass house with a giant pool and a trophy wife,
exactly,
we're all gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? We're all gonna end up hurting ourselves trying getting there too.
You have a better shot at hitting the lotto.
Yeah, but I try to make success an everyday thing by picking tiny things I can win at every single day, making a new goal for myself and setting the bar just a little bit higher every day. If we're constantly getting a little bit better, we're constantly going up that exponential train to success, man. So
right.
That's what it's all about.
That's what I'm all about. Positive people, finding the good in people, and trying to help out as much as I possibly can. And podcasting honestly has made me a better person. It's kind of given me the outlet that I needed, so I'm no longer the angry person I used to be. I'm now fun going podcast Dan all the time, because I kind of got to put on a face, but you kind of fall in love with the face. So
now I have a question for you. Before you started podcasting, what was like your favorite podcast to listen to? What podcast kind of inspired you into maybe picking up that?
Well, the easy answer would be Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Because everybody in America loves Joe Rogan. The podcast is amazing. He has amazing guests on there. And he really got me into like Neil deGrasse Tyson. So I'm like a real big fan of him now and astrology because of that. So big ups to Joe Rogan for that one. But I would have to say I was listening to a sports podcast because I didn't have ESPN, because I didn't have cable. And I was like, well, what can I figure out the way to listen to like what happened to keep up on the sports world? And I was listening to a sports podcast on YouTube. It had like 5 views every episode. So it was just like a low key,
Yeah.
It wasn't like a video. It was just wavelengths, you know, when people talking. And that's how I was like, man, if these guys can do it. But yeah, it was like, I think it was 321 Sports. And that's my very first podcast. I was just like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for more or less, that's pretty much how I got into podcasting. But I want to get into a little bit more about your music, because I noticed that on your podcast, you play a lot of music of your own. Like I believe your intro is all yours. Now, are you a maestro, like a pianist, or are you like a Kid Rock, like you can do pretty much a little bit of everything?
I'm like, okay, I don't want to say I'm a Kid Rock. We'll say I'm a Chris Davis.
Right, there you go.
Guitar is definitely my main instrument all the way. That was the first thing I picked up. But then along the way, I've had so many bands at this point and with various people. And sometimes the hardest thing is to find the drummer. You can never find a good drummer. And if they do, they come with their own personalities, man.
Right. So
a lot of times I would pick a really good friend of mine who I had good chemistry with and teach them how to play drums to get past that problem. So I had to learn drums myself, and now I'm actually a pretty all right drummer. Like all the drums you hear on my tracks are all me at this point.
Nice.
And then bass just goes along with guitar very well. So I ended up learning bass and really, really learned bass when I was forced to start teaching it. Okay.
Right.
I'm a music instructor, which is why I'm still like a little cautious to smoke on camera. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that say, I would love to be your co-host, but I might get fired. And I was like, yeah, you probably should not do that then. So,
you know, you could be risky like me and take that as the sign to really go for the music thing all in and just go sit on a block and play music with my guitar case out to take 50s or something. I don't know.
Right.
But it's a good gig. Nonetheless, smoke them if you got them.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah. And then I do vocals. I am a jazz pianist as well. So a little all over the board. I was in rock bands my whole life from like 8th grade to college. I had my biggest rock band I've been in, which was called American Absinthe. If anybody wants to do a history lesson on me, check out that music. But when I graduated, that band split up. I came back and had a lull. And I had to learn piano for college. And when I got out and wasn't playing anymore, I was like, man, I don't want to lose those skills I picked up. So I just started practicing. And then I put an ad out for just a musician wanted, like, I'm a good musician. Hit me up if you're like looking for a jazz or rock guy.
Right.
These guys requested that I join their band, and that I've been in this jazz band ever since on piano. So
nice.
They're called the Jazz Operators, but we're thinking of changing our name. And we've been kind of not doing a whole lot through COVID because our sax guy, I mean, he really needs his lungs to do his instruments, so he's really worried about it.
No.
So he's been super cautious, and I haven't seen him since last March.
Nice.
But I'm really trying to start another rock band here again, and if anybody wants to hear my latest rock demo, check out episode 98 of Music and Motivation. It's like the last 4 minutes of the episode through the demo line.
Nice. So been wanting to ask you, like, we've all been through, like, I've told you my fail, my epic fail, and what I've learned and how I've overcome it and learned from it. Is there a point in your music career where you completely just almost gave up and then built yourself back up and went for it again?
I mean, when you've been through as many bands as I have, like when one band breaks up and you've been in it for a year or more, a band breakup can be heartbreaking. It can be worse than a girl breaking up with you.
Yeah, I've heard. Yep, I've heard. Yeah, my uncle's a musician. He's been in a few bands, and he said, like, he's like, breaking up with your band friends is pretty much that's end of a relationship. That's a long-term relationship gone. No more. So
yeah, imagine you had like the best co-host in the world, and that co-host made you money.
right.
Also, like you had an outstanding show, it was doing really good, and then all of a sudden he, like the network you work for, tells you, hey, not only can you not work with him anymore, you can't do anything with that name anymore. So
Right. Yeah.
You have no outlet. So
right. I have a buddy of mine. He's in like a death metal band. He's in
shout him out. What's the band name?
Second System. He's local, right out here in Saginaw, and he almost sold his likeness rights without knowing it. And he's just like, and I was just like, your likeness rights? What? Because I had no idea what likeness rights were at the time. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, that means somebody can take my image, my name, my voice, and be me, and no one would even know it. And I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. And he's like, that's how the music industry is. And he goes, and I almost signed that away. He's like, I could not be who I am anymore. I had to switch my entire image up. And I was like, and he goes, if I didn't read that fine print, that would have been the end of my music career. And I would have had to figure something else out. Like his name, his image, his everything would have been no more.
I'm throwing that in the back and remembering that.
Yeah. So yeah, likeness rights. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of musicians. My grandfather actually was he was a drummer, and he was the drummer for Sawyer Brown before they were Sawyer Brown. Like he was their drummer, and then he left the band, and then they got a new drummer, and then they got a record deal. So missed opportunity there, but still cool. It's still a cool story to tell.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, I've had my family dabbles in musician. My family have a lot of musicians in it. So, and for some reason, I did not pick up an instrument. I picked up a basketball instead.
That's totally cool, bro. As long as you have that outlet, you know. I will say that playing an instrument is like the ultimate de-stressor, and was like the only way I got through high school. I'd come home from school, and I did play sports, but like in the off season over winter or summer or whatever, you know, come home and play guitar for 3 or 4 hours. But definitely, if you're struggling right now, guys, and you're like wondering what the fuck to do, what the fuck do I do with my life? Can't remember your hobbies you enjoyed when you could still see people.
Right.
Pick up an instrument. Maybe, you know, one of the easy ones I recommend is starting with bass. You know?
Yeah. Bass or drums, I heard, were probably the easiest ones just to pick up. It's bass and drums.
Oh yeah, and if you want to pick up an instrument and immediately be super valuable and have a bunch of people want you in their band, be a drummer.
Be a drummer.
We need more drummers.
The world is in need of drummers. Like the whole closest thing I get to drummers is the keyboard, and I put the drum thing on and I go boom, 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 and that's it. But yeah, that's I had one more question to ask before we cut this thing out, and I just wanted to say, are you strictly on YouTube, or are you also on like Spotify or? Oh
yeah, let me plug this shit, man. So
yeah, go ahead.
Music and Motivation with Chris Davis. That shit's everywhere. You can find that shit on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Deezer, the whole motherfucking works. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's the only way to go. You got to put it out there.
You want that video, baby? That's only on YouTube.
Yeah.
And totally worth it. And may I say that the first, 80 episodes were all shot in my shed. So like that was where the podcast studio was at my dad's shed before we bought our house.
Yeah.
Moved to Studio 2.0. But you won't find a podcast like it.
Right. So. Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that I thought you were in a garage of some sort. I'm like, he's got to be in a garage, because I remember watching your video and then like thinking like 3/4 of the way through it, like, where's he at? Trying to figure out where you're at. I was like, is he in the garage? Is he in the shed?
A few episodes, the backdrop would fall down and there'd be like a Volkswagen engine sitting there.
Yeah, podcast bloopers. Yep, I've had that happen a couple times too. I had my back shelf here. I'm gonna move my head. It has my autographed football and basketballs and stuff all over it. That actually fell over while I was recording one day, and it broke my top case. And I was live streaming at the time, and I just went off like beep, fuck, shit, fucking this, fuck, mother, you know. Everyone's just like, and I think a bunch of people left the stream, and then I ended up just cutting the video. It was hilarious.
Or yeah. that's when you should have got a whole bunch of shares. You know what I mean? Right.
I should have just kept it on and see what happened. But but yeah, I think this is gonna be it for the first episode of the Saturday Smoke Session. I got it right this time. Okay. Thank you, Chris, for coming on, for being my very first guest, for breaking the ice for me.
I'm super fucking honored, bro. Check out Music and Motivation with Chris Davis on YouTube, anywhere, and you can find my music under Chris Hippie Davis. Again, most places: Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube. The works.
Are you on Facebook and Instagram and all that shit too?
Yes, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can find, again, Music and Motivation with Chris Davis on Facebook with its own page, but on Instagram, I think it's Davis Music Pro.
Okay,
is the handle. So,
all right, nice.
Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate you. It's been a pleasure, and I'm grateful to smoke with you. Everybody, have a good fucking week, and smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, let's hit this one more time for the road, guys. Stay up. Peace.
Scene one, Apple, take one.
You wanna get high?
That's right.
You caught me smoking. You caught me smoking. Smoking. You caught me smoking. You caught me smoking. You caught me smoking. It's a motherfucking podcast.